Hi, Warriors. I just want to pick up where I left off on Wednesday. We were live here Wednesday when the pound dollar was testing this for the third time. My comments were sell the next rip. So I don't know. I don't click your mouse. I don't know where you sold it. Maybe you sold it here at 680 because I said this will not hold, that we're going to have a breakdown. And that happened the next day. So if you sold this rip, you had a nice trade, well over 100 pips for at least partials. And okay, Dale, that was then. What now? So I have to give this breakout a chance to work. It may not, and that would, if it doesn't, that's a signal for me to get out of the way, that something different is happening. I've been, forecasting this breakdown in cable for a long time, calling this a right shoulder of a head and shoulders top. So maybe we get some acceleration into Wednesday, because Wednesday, I think there might be some reversals going into the end of the week. And, maybe you have a chance to take it. I don't know if we'll get all the way down to 24, but I think there still could be some more left. And who knows, this breakdown could hold for a long time. I know a lot of people are saying the dollar is overbought, and I agree. But before I get to that, also what I covered during that broadcast was the US dollar yen, and the yen was here. And I said, look for some type of A, B, C, which is what we got. I said maybe 44.5, and then a rally to make new recovery highs, which has happened. Still think that 48 could be viable. In the next couple of days, we have the NFP on Friday. There's a lot of data. They're very thin markets. You could tell how quiet they are. We'll be back to full liquidity, or at least as good as liquidity you'll get next week, after everyone calls it their summer holidays, wrap them up and come back from their summer homes in the Hamptons, and other beautiful places like Tahoe, and where the one percenters can be weather snobs. So, okay, so the yen up there towards 148.49 still looks viable to me. Here's what the dilemma is in the dollar. Okay, there's the dollar. So we had this breakout at 103.50. That's a short-term look at it. A little longer term, you can see how far that trend line came back, goes all the way back to the March highs off the late May highs, and we broke out last week, and it comes in around 103.50. The obstacle above the dollar is the 50-week moving average. It's this green line right here that comes in right around 104.52, which is pretty close to this high. Now, we could start to get a correction, or we could break out. It hasn't given people any dips to buy. I know a lot of people are saying, I'm waiting for a good rally to sell euro. That hasn't happened. It's still my belief, regardless whether we break out now or get a pullback to 3.5, even 2.5, that destiny in the Dixie is still up towards 108. So that's going to be halfway back. 107, looks like 19 is going to be halfway back, and almost 109 it's going to be 68% back. And I think that those targets are viable. And how do you come up with those counts besides having fibs? Just taking the low of the move was, call it 99.5, and the breakout at 3.5 is going to give you 107.5 or so. Then if we break out above the moving average, that's going to be tack on 5, and that's going to give you up towards this 109 level. So I'm still looking for that in the next couple months, which is, going to equate, like I talked about, once I thought we had this peak, that we were going to get fib retracements, and 61.8 is going to be about 102 in euro, and in cable, 61.8 is going to come in at 114. So, You know, there's still plenty of, this is just beginning. So for now, we have to give the breakdown the benefit of the doubt. You see what's happening there in the dollar. Something else pretty important happened last week I want to share with you guys, you traders, guys and gals. It had to do with the 10-year. Okay, so the 10-year, here's your weekly, took out these highs from October. See that? And you know, we are starting to get some divergence on multiple time frames. So here you go. Here's a 4-hour. We diverged up there. We could get another rally. You know, I'm thinking maybe 430. I think that it's a possibility the highs are in before we have a bigger correction, but for the yen to get to that 148, that would be another thing. If the yen is making new recovery highs without the 10-year, that's not a good sign for higher yields. That's a sign for lower yields. When the yen does peak and start to come off, it's going to mean lower yields. And what's interesting, when I looked at the 10-year weekly making new highs, and then I look at TLT, which is holding the 90 low. The low has been so far 92.23, but it put in a nice reversal week. So it's very possible that we're going to get a higher low here and get a nice bond rally. I think it's most likely going to be tied in with risk off. So, you know, they've been talking for months now about how crowded the short side of bonds and notes are, and the commitment of traders report, and that was going to be the catalyst for a rally, and it wasn't. But perhaps now we're there since we had our initial break in the S&Ps. Let me cover them quickly. They're up pretty good here today. But I think this is a rip to sell. I still think we'll see 4,200, 4,100, at least for a correction. But in the meantime, you know, are we going to fail here? This was a nice failure up here, but held the lows. Or could we even rally one more time to 4,500? Either is possible to me. So we'll see what happens if the market likes that yields are coming off, or that yields come off because the market is selling off, and some type of flight to safety, flight to quality. So I wanted to cover that in the yields that, you know, may not be a bad spec. Friday, before Friday, the employment number, maybe that's going to be the catalyst for lower yields if we get a weak number on the employment report on Friday. I also wanted to cover WTI, and I'll wrap it with it, because if you've been following me, you know that I was lucky, you know, up here, I caught the top. And I thought we'd get to 76. We held at 77.5. This was the reason I thought 76. I had the intersection of the moving averages here happening at this 26 level. Let me just enlarge this. Okay. Anyway, let's look at it on the daily. You'll see that those moving averages, what's going on with this? There we go. So I was looking for 76. What may happen now is we're in a weather market now in energy, where hurricanes can move into the Gulf and create shutdowns of production, refining along the Gulf Coast and Texas. And there's a hurricane Idalia that's coming in here. So this is the way I would approach it on a weather market, is that if I had a rally based upon hurricane fears that took me back towards 82, I would look for sell signals up here and risk the high of the move, because this was a pretty nice move. We're talking about $7. So if we peak up here, the next move could be 11. So that would take it to the low 70s. If that happens, that's going to take you back down to here. Okay. If we have a failure up at 82, it would be 1.618 of this. So something I'm looking to take advantage of on a weather market move would be fear production shutdowns in the Gulf that generate a pop towards 82, which is 61.8 back. I'm a seller looking for another wave that could be 1.618 of this from up here. So have a great week trading, everyone, and always invite you to join us here in TradeGATEHub. Mike posts great stuff all day long. If you're a stock trader, you got to be there. We have some cable traders in the room, so step in and share your best stuff. If you make yourself accountable, you'll be a better trader. So if you share your work, you're only going to put out your best stuff, and you should only trade your best stuff. So that's a wrap. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. I'll see you. I have Andy Constant at Damp Spring with us on Wednesday. Andy recently has been on CNBC. He's getting all over the media. He's made some great calls, and look forward to catching up with him. And I'll be live with Mike tomorrow. Adios, everyone. Good hunting, and let things unfold. Tread lightly this week with thin liquidity and news. And I'll see you tomorrow.